you put a coffee in mine? Tastes sweet.
It's some elderberry probably.
Mm.
But turmeric, I ain't gonna know that.
It tastes sweet.
What's up, y'all? Peace, peace. What's up? What's up?
Peace and blessings,
Y'all come on in.
How do I switch?
What's up, family? Peace, peace. Y'all come on in. Share it live. Share it live.
Peace and blessings, y'all. Y'all see the title?
Start reading and stuff like this.
People who open and send links to you.
Yeah. They currently got that open right now, but they gonna change it. You know, I gotta go in my settings. See, all this is how they update what they doing. I don't never read this.
Oh yeah, they send something every day. He walked on water.
All that control your algorithm, so you don't go to nobody else. Cause if it only gonna show the people who click on your stuff, yeah, it's like you gonna have, it gonna be like one. They separating the communities. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
So
know?
if you don't share it,
Yeah.
probably might be. That's why I don't really share the link, really, unless it's a
No, it's just saying link. No, these are people who your people are sending you links.
like, but from another app or from TikTok.
They're from TikTok. I'm saying, but that's they gonna put. If you're not interacting with somebody, you'll never be in their community. That's what it's saying. You have to be interacting with people to be in their community.
They're gonna control it regardless.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, they really in control.
All that hate. Can y'all come up and answer the question?
Hating already?
You know, if you,
Hating already?
if you disagree, just come
Just
up and
got
prove
started,
yourself.
y'all.
That's why we make these lives is conversation.
Not hate, just facts. Well, what's the fact? Do God read? You know, do you read God? Or do you listen to God?
And truth is spoken, so please speak your facts. We don't want to read. We want to hear you come up and speak your facts of what you think. Do you read God or do you listen to God?
We want to know We wanna know what makes you happy. So, can anybody answer the question? Do you read God or listen to God?
Peace to you guys.
Good morning, good morning.
All right, peace, peace.
Peace, peace. Grand Rising. It's been a minute since I hollered at y'all, man. How y'all been?
We good, brother. Peace, peace.
All right.
How about yourself?
Everything been perfect. Everything working out as far as the church and the new school thing coming along, so everything perfect.
Okay. What you got for us today, brother? What you got for us?
I think it was both, the answer.
So how do you read God?
You can read about him. Read
So
about his teachings.
is the Bible God?
I think it's the word. Included inspired stories of the word.
But the word become flesh.
True indeed.
So when the
And the
word
son.
becomes flesh,
Word becomes flesh in the son.
but I'm saying, but it never says the word become the Bible or the word become a book or the word become paper. I ain't never read that. Now maybe I might have skipped it. If you want to show me when it say the word become paper and pen, I'm all ears. But I know I read the word become flesh. So when I hear people say the Bible is the word, that the Bible don't back that up. You know, but the Bible does back up that the word is flesh. And the Bible also backs up God has a voice. You see what I'm saying? Like those are things that we can go to the scriptures and we can reveal. So, I would love for you to reveal to me where it says the word is paper and pen.
The Lamb's Book of Life is in Revelations, so I mean I wouldn't take away me and Stamps was rapping about this and we both kind of like agreed like the another guy you rock and roll with Antonio, he was saying the same thing too. Once he thought about it, he kept saying that the word is God.
Yeah, the word of
Word,
God.
yeah,
How you get the
we know
word?
that people that road
You kind of breaking up.
down. I'm gonna go out front real quick. Yeah, we know that these things have been documented. Could you hear me now? Am I clear?
Yeah.
So you got the Lamb's Book of Life, the seal that he opens up in Revelations. So as far as it being a book or something that could be read, I agree with that. I agree that it is that. Whether it could be something that was written, carved in stone, uh, whether it be the book of Moses, it could be that. So do I believe God leaves steps? Could you read steps from God? Yes, I do believe that.
But that's not the basis of what we were saying. Is the word is not a book because that's not what the Bible clarifies. The word of God only becomes flesh because if we go to the scripture of how did God communicate with our forefathers, that's Hebrews 1:1. And see, this is what I'm saying. Like everybody is really going off their imaginations. And
and what we have been lied to about. As they say, the devil deceived the whole world. So majority of the world believes when they read the Bible, they are reading the word of God. That's deception. Because the book tells us the word become flesh. So when we read Hebrews 1:1, Hebrews 1:1.
It says, God who at dry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets.
So God communicated with flesh to our forefathers.
No
God
doubt.
used paper and pen to communicate with our forefathers. Now you also have a scripture where it say what? God don't change. God is the same today, yesterday, and forever. So if you have a generation of people who literally think that they are talking to God through the Bible, that's called darkness. That's called utter darkness. That's called utter darkness. That's what that's called. Like I say, now if anybody can show me where it say the word is pen and paper, hey, be my guest. I'm all ears.
I know that you study history. You know what I'm saying? You study history just like I do. And history left us clues all around from everywhere, from Ethiopia to Egypt to different things carved in different places. Even the tablets that God created to be read for Moses was created for people to read. So I can understand what you mean. You trying to get back into the depths of listen, the listen to God, the ears of God. You trying to get the ears to listen so you can hear God. I understand what you're saying, and that is important. But both things are included because all things that we do is being written down. Back when they wrote those things, scribes wrote for them. You know what I'm saying? So things was jotted down, and that's just the way things are.
Well, I'm not. We don't saying throw away the Bible. We don't. We
Right,
don't. We gotta.
right.
As
Because
soon as God got finished,
The tablets of Moses was important.
hold up. That's what I'm saying. I don't want you to think we saying throw away the Bible. We know it got written down. We know prophets wrote it down. We know they wrote the vision that God showed them. We agree with that.
Right.
So we not against the Bible when we say these things. We are against mankind who don't have understanding of the book. Mankind right now is in utter darkness of the Bible. Because if you literally think you are reading the word, you're going against the Bible. The word become flesh. It became flesh in our ancestors' time. It's going to be flesh today.
And in the Bible, it says that it says Christ is, his name is the word of God.
That no man knew.
So it doesn't say the Bible is the word. You have to hearken to Christ to get the word. You're reading a prophecy. You're reading a vision. You're not reading the word. You have to hear
a man should live off every word that proceeds out the mouth of God, which means
say it
listen.
one more time. Say it one more time so they
I know, I understand what you're saying, because every word that proceeds out the mouth of God is important. So, and that's your food right there.
That's how you gonna live.
That's how you gonna live.
Yeah.
And every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God is your food. So when it's telling you that, you know, that's how you gotta take it, and you gotta learn to use your ears. Is what he's actually saying, you know. So it's the semi of listen to listen. In Hebrew they say it's semi to listen.
Correct.
I'm just waking up, man. Y'all have a blessed day. You know, I ain't holler at y'all in a minute. I'm glad to see y'all still doing y'all thing. Y'all changed the topic up there. I'm glad to see y'all still doing y'all thing, and peace, y'all.
All right, brother, man. Peace.
No doubt.
I think that's the best thing he said, like, and people, we just did a video about that, how people want stuff to be literal in the Bible. They want Christ to literally walk on water. They want Christ to literally touch some mud and throw in your eyes and now you see. But when it says the mouth of God, that's not literal. The mouth of God mean the book. The mouth of God is allegory for the book. So people use allegory when it's beneficial for them. You see what I'm saying? Now, people say, y'all use allegory all the time. Tell us something literal.
That's literal.
That's literal.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? We tell you a lot of literal things, but because you don't want to know the truth, you look for wrong, or you look for controversy, or you simply just don't understand. Because it says darkness couldn't comprehend the light. Light shined in darkness, darkness couldn't comprehend it. You know, so like I say, y'all, when you really get into these things, man, and really just sit back, you know, the whole world's against the Bible, but the whole world's holding the Bible. Ain't this crazy? Ain't that crazy, y'all? That's, like I say, that's utter darkness. The whole world got the Bible, but the whole world is against the Bible. Utter darkness, y'all. That's all. That's the only thing you can say. That's all you can say.
Do you want me to read this or wait?
Yeah. Might be a little bit more than that. Yeah, that's the one I really wanted to read.
Or 8? 20.
Yeah, but all of it is good because
I can read all of it though. Not 29 though.
yeah.
So Yaju wants to bring out Jeremiah chapter 7 verses 24 to 28 or 9. And it says, but they hearken not, nor incline their ear, but walked in the counsels and in the imagination of their evil heart, and went backwards and not forward. Since the day that your fathers came forth out of the land of Egypt unto this day, I have even sent unto you all my servants the prophets, daily rising up early and sending them.
So God has always sent what? Servants, the prophets, not scriptures, letters, and books. We must understand the Bible is literally telling us the word has always been flesh. Forget the word become flesh. Y'all can't hear that. The word always became flesh. The word always, they have to be nailed into our minds. Because we're dealing with a generation who think they're reading the word. When it's told all through the book, God sent servants, the prophets, which is what? Flesh and blood. So when you deal with the scripture, when it say what? Whoever don't eat the flesh of the Son of Man has no life in them. That Son of Man would be what? A God sent vessel in the flesh. And if you don't eat that flesh, which is eat the information that's coming from that flesh, you ain't got no life in you. You in a book. It's a bunch of dead people. Kendrick? I see dead people. That's true. If you in this book, we're going to keep it going though, y'all. I think we need to read that again because that verse right there and many other verses clarifies God's word is flesh. Always.
Verse 25, since the day that your father came forth out of the land of Egypt, unto this day I have even sent unto you all my servants the prophets, daily rising up early and sending them. Yet they hearken not unto me, nor incline their ear, but harden their neck. They did worse than their fathers. Therefore thou shalt speak all these words unto them but they will not hearken to thee. Thou shalt also call unto them, but they will not answer thee. But thou shalt say unto them, This is a nation that obeyeth not the voice of the Lord their God.
Oh. See, this is a nation that obey not the voice of their God, because their God was going to be the word made flesh in their time. I'm going to say it slow again. Their God, see, our ancestors' God was the word made flesh in their time, because God is spirit. So to worship God, you got to worship in spirit and truth. So our ancestors didn't worship God because they didn't accept what? The truth that came from the vessels in the flesh that had the spirit. So they didn't worship in spirit and truth. So now at this time, you have your God among you, not your ancestors' God. Your God is among you in the flesh. The word is made flesh. But what you won't do? What kind of nation is this again? What kind of nation is it?
This is a nation that obeyeth not the voice of their Lord their God, of the Lord their God.
And what?
Nor receiveth correction.
So we here to correct. We here to bring correction to people who that's in darkness. But if you don't want to hear the voice and you don't want to see a correction because you got the word on your hip, you sleep with the word every night. It's on your dash when you ride down the street. Because you feel you have the word, there's no way you can listen to the word of God. It's impossible. Psychological. See, people like that psychological. It's impossible for you to hear the word if you read the word so much. And most of the people we talking to, they done read the word over and over and over and over and over and over. So we're going to read it one more time to what kind of nation this is.
This is a nation that obeyeth not the voice of the Lord their God, nor receiveth correction. Truth is perished, and is cut off from their mouth.
Where's cut off from?
From their mouth.
That's why we saying the Bible, we're not saying the Bible ain't true. What you saying ain't true. We're not against the Bible. We're against what's coming from your mouth. You see what I'm saying? Because I tell people all the time, man, if somebody's sending you a long text message right now, for you to get clarity, what you going to do? Call them. And that's a text message. You know how big the Bible is? Can you call the prophets? Can you call Moses? Hey, Moses, man, what you meant, man, when you were talking about, man, all that stuff in Genesis, man. Tell me, Moses, what you meant by that, Moses? We can't call Moses. We can't call Jeremiah. We can't call Isaiah. When we got we can't call Peter. Hey, Peter, with Paul. What you meant by that, Paul? You can't do that. So if somebody sent you a text message and you can't even verify everything the person meant in the text message, but you pick up a book that's 1,000 and some pages, and what? And you know everything they meant. Come on now. That's utter darkness. You know, this is why we are in utter darkness. You know, and again, you got some people that's so against the book. You know, you got so many people that's so against the book that they don't even want to talk about nation building. They want to burn stage, make money, and walk barefooted and hug trees. And that's cool. But yeah, we got work to do. We have literally work to do. The harvest is plenty, the workers are few. Don't nobody want to do the work. We all want to channel some fake energy that we think gonna make us move. You want to align your chakras. Shit, they ain't aligned yet. How long it take to align your chakras? Do we keep them aligned? Do they get back unaligned? Like all this stuff, y'all, is on a whole nother level, man. Some people got their chakras aligned and they don't even know it. You see what I'm saying? So it's so much, man. It's so much gumbo, y'all. It's so much, man. It's and y'all, like I say, so when you come to reading, and a lot of people don't understand Bible, Biblos, mean collection of books. We never had a Bible. Nobody in Africa had a Bible. Nobody in Africa had taken all the scrolls and put them in a book. Nobody had done that in Africa. No African did that. So when you even come to a book and how we are shaping our minds, and even the people that's against the book, their mind is shaped around the book. You see what I'm saying? You know why? Because they're trying to disprove the book. Or they're trying to find another comfort space when all you were supposed to do was wait and be righteous. All we were supposed to do was wait and be righteous. That's all we were supposed to do. You know, but they handed us stuff and now we trapped in it. We trapped in burning sage. We trapped in grabbing rocks. We trapped in sun gazing. We just trapped in, you know, it's like, man, we can't, it's no unity. And like I say, y'all, the first unity is thought. You see what I'm saying? The first unity is thought, man. Like and that's why we don't have unity, because we don't all have that one thought. We all have different thoughts. Kings talk politics and economics. Man.
What started politics?
I'm not even
like they don't. Do they not realize that the connection between the Bible and politics? Your politicians are politicians because they call themselves sons of God. We gotta fight the politicians because they're having authority when they shouldn't be having authority.
He probably won't talk politics because he got a business and he think he made it.
Yeah, but
people like that, like brother, like we politics is after we build that's stuff that's gonna be set up regardless. We setting up a government. How we don't talk politics? But there's a lot of stuff we can't talk to ignorant people. You know. And real kings don't be under another man's comments every day. Real kings don't comment unless it's either what? To lift up, or a real king ain't got nothing to say because they busy doing their own business. Now, if you've been sent out on a task to destroy something, if you the destroyer, that's different. But you talk about a king, what a real king do, man. Like, where the king's at?
I'm not a king, you are. So how you know what a king's supposed to do?
How you gonna, if he not a king, how you gonna tell me what a king is supposed to do? Man, my people, man. But if anybody want to deal with the title, y'all, like I say, man, do we read God or do we listen to God? This is a generation that really don't want to hear God. We rather read it. You know, when someone tell you something, you looking for somebody to show you something in the book. You know, this is a new song. This is a new covenant. The Bible say God gonna make a new covenant with us, not like the one he gonna make with our forefathers. So if God gonna make a new covenant with us, you not worried about the new? Nah, you're not worried about the new. Everything right here in the book. Everything is in the book. It's right here. It's not, y'all. And that's why I read the verse in Deuteronomy 28. I was saying this the other day, y'all. If you ain't read Deuteronomy yet, you need to slap yourself. If you haven't read Deuteronomy 28, then this is one chapter. It's a very long chapter, but it breaks down the curses, the blessings, you know, some of the stuff that took place to us that really help people identify what the Bible was talking about. Because before Deuteronomy 28, and before people understanding, you know, what had to take place. And that's why the world brought the Jews back to Israel. Because the whole Bible prophecy is about getting the Jews back in their original land. It's the whole prophecy about. Now, I don't know why you think they did that. They ain't do it because, oh, it's fake. No, they did it so they could solidify their control of the prophecy. So for a long time, the Roman Empire have been controlling the narrative of the prophecy. Because when they brought the Jews back to Israel, that was what? Prophecy being fulfilled according to the Bible. But that's not true. So right now, the real Jews are waking up. And they're going to return back to their own land, and they're going to set up the what? Throne of David. Which is going to solidify their government, their politics, their stance in the world. You know, it's going to get other nations in order. You know, so much take place, y'all. That's why I say y'all don't understand, man. Like, because it's a lot of nations don't like Great Britain. A lot of nations, it's no secret, but they didn't have power to what? To overthrow them. So, we always use the example of Putin. How Putin said, I stand with Black Christ. What you think China gonna do? Stand with Black Christ. What you think Japan gonna do? Stand with Black Christ. You know, all these nations is gonna stand with what? The Black Christ. And they gonna remove themselves from the Roman Empire. So that's why I say when you talk about stuff on this level, this is stuff like, when we say these things, y'all want to know how. But you go to church and scream Jesus. You see what I'm saying? So this is what the Bible prophecy is about. About the kingdom being taken. That's the whole Bible prophecy. About God taking the kingdom from the Jews, giving it to somebody else, and then when the chosen generation comes, they take it back. To set up God's kingdom on earth to bring peace to the world. That's the prophecy. You know, so we're going to bring out Deuteronomy 28. 28:1.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
If thou shalt what? Hearken diligently.
Dignantly
I know I can't say it.
unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So if we hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, what's going to happen to us? God will set thee on high.
God will set thee on high above the nation of the earth.
So if we listen to the voice of God,
God will set thee on high above the nation of the earth.
above all the nations of the earth. But the voice, it didn't say scriptures. Show me where Moses say, if you hearken diligently to the scriptures, God is going to set you above all nations on earth. You don't find that in the Bible. You find the voice.
And it says to observe and to do all his commandments.
Now read it, huh?
How are you going to observe something? You don't. Everybody's observing what they've read. You know, they don't observe what they actually heard.
But they can observe the flesh and blood, right? Because you can't observe words, you're reading words. But a flesh and blood, you can't observe. When you go to science, and you know, when you talk about really observing, you observe what? Tangible physical things. You know? So these things, y'all, we have to understand. So the blessing of God comes from a voice.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Did it say scriptures? All these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. All these blessings shall overtake you. So why is Israel not blessed right now? They don't have a voice. They know every scripture. They can recite every scripture. They read it every day. no blessings. No blessings have overtook us. And if the whole, that's why I say Deuteronomy 28. So many Hebrews have read it. What they miss? Voice. Because the voice ain't literal. Everything else literal. Christ cracking the sky, Christ coming on clouds, he riding on a horse. All that's literal. But God's voice, it ain't literal. It's allegory for the Bible. Y'all, man, this is the utter darkness, and this is the simplicity. Because these are simple things we saying. We're not saying nothing complicated, y'all. This is very simple of what we saying. This is grade school, y'all. It's elementary. You know, this elementary. Because people want to talk about economics, politics, government. You can't have the one thing about the Roman Catholic Church and all that, they in order. They wrong. They wrong as hell. But they in order. They follow order. They follow suit. See, so even when you wrong, order keeps you up. You know, order keeps you strong. Even when you wrong. So imagine when you right, what order gonna do. Now, yeah. So when you talk about the order of Melchizedek, this is what God has introduced to the world. But they can't comprehend it. But this time, though, what? God is talking to the world. Like I tell people, this is a different time. The prophets didn't talk to the world. I told you the prophets talked to the forefathers. I'm going to say it again. The prophets talked to the forefathers. The forefathers. Now the Son of God is speaking to the world. That's why this time was written about. That's why this time it was foreseen. Because God was going to be speaking to the world. That's why it's the last days. So, you know when they say all nations going to come worship in my holy mountain? They ain't do that for the prophets. They ain't do that for Moses. So that's why, and a lot of times when we in this lie so deep, we forget how special this time is. We forget how special this is. You know, because we so caught up on a lie that never took place. Jesus was walking and he was touching people, and well, guess what, y'all? Jesus walking now. Oh, but we can't see that because he walked 2,000 years ago in your mind. There's no way you can see Jesus walk right now. But Kanye West told you what? Jesus walks with me. What did he say, with me? Mm-hmm. Oh, shit, I got it. Well, erase that, y'all. Throw that out. Throw that out.
Jesus walks by himself too.
So like I say, so it's the imagination of really why we can't see the blessings that God have on earth right now. And like I say, we just here to make you see. We're here to give sight to the blind. We're here to give ears to the deaf. You know, we're here to give strength to the weak. And that's what we come up here. This what the truth, you know, that come out our mouths do. If give that to people so they can see what the invisible is doing. Because last time I checked, you don't see energy. You don't see the wind. But guess what the wind and energy do? Move people. You know how you say, I ain't got no energy to get up. Do you see the energy that got you down? That got you down? Just like you don't see the energy that got you up. You see what I'm saying? But you move by that energy. That's what God is now. If everybody want to make this so complicated, and they mad, the truth is so simple. I used to always say, man, we can teach third graders. I used to say fifth graders. I dropped it down to third. It's elementary, man. I know third grade we write cursive, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's when you start writing cursive, I think. Yeah, so you know, yeah, it's the curses are lifted. As third graders, come on in. We lifting the curse. We lifting the curse.
And if y'all have an answer to the title, feel free to come up.
You say King David did not preach. Man, hey, listen, bro. King David Why did the dirty dogs surround King David then? Why did the congregation surround King David?
To look at him or to hear him?
They was mad at what he was saying and what he said he was about to do. They got mad at David when he wanted to destroy the giant. Man, David, go sit down somewhere, man. You can't defeat the giant, man. Who you think you is, David? But they ain't know David was sent by God. That's what they didn't know. They didn't know David was sent by God.
Peace to you, guess.
Peace. What's good at OGC, brother? I just came to just show the panel some love, my brother. And just like Eazy said, bro, all publicity is good publicity, brother. So the message is getting across the border, brother. Cause I be seeing so many people hating on the truth, brother. It's just down bad, brother. They be making lives and posts about you talking, but they missing the message. You heard me? So, brother, respect to you, peace. You know, I'm down like 4 flats with the message, brother, to get back what's rightfully ours. And the crazy part, you doing it in a peaceable way, brother. A peaceful way. So, you know, in due time, you know, I'm gonna make a video when I cut my hat, brother. But you know, I'm down like 4 flats. So peace, brother, and respect to the mission, brother. You heard me? All publicity, good publicity, brother. So the plan is in full effect. You heard me? So all prayers to the Creator. Take care, my brother.
All right, likewise, brother. Peace to you, man. Salute. That's why we say all the time, y'all, we need you haters. So we need the haters, man. And you know, like I said, and that's why God hardened Pharaoh's heart and just restricted my life. You see, put feedback.
Oh, okay. Damn.
You didn't press appeal. So, and that's what, you know, that's what people are doing, man. You know, it shows you, again, the devil was going to come down with wrath because the devil knows his time is up. When you are, devil means deception, right? That's what devil means, deception. So when you are part of deception, you are one of the first people that see the light. Because remember, the light comes to remove the deception. So when you see the light, you like, and you are darkness, then you realize you finna be removed. This is why the scriptures say the devil has a short time, so it comes with great wrath, because it knows if time is up. Darkness don't remove light. Darkness can't remove light. The only reason why we in darkness in this world because light ain't been here. The light ain't been here. That's why we've been in darkness. When the light comes into the world, darkness is removed. So that's why people have wrath with me. But like I tell people, I don't get no camp has ever put me on an open debate. Ain't that crazy? All the camps I traveled hundreds of thousands of miles to challenge them, but they have not ever put me on just an open platform and debated me in decency and in order. You know, and like the brother man, publicity. Because just like the scribes and Pharisees, we got to stop him because he going to make everybody believe. This is what's in the book. We got to stop this because everybody going to believe him. But like, how could everybody believe the lie? The camps don't want unity. The Muslims don't want unity. Now, the people that's a part of these organizations, some of the people that's a part of these organizations, they want unity. The leaders, because what the scribes and Pharisees want? The best seats in the synagogue. See, you're dealing with people that want the best seats in the synagogue, but they don't want to tell you. I didn't want no seat. I wanted freedom. I wanted truth. And I wanted to worship God. God gave me a seat. But I didn't do nothing I did for a seat. You know, when I made my sacrifice, a lot of stuff I didn't even know. You know, so like I say, when you really look at what's going on, y'all, everything that's written in this book and how the prophecy is told and what people gonna do, how they gonna act, what they was gonna think, what they was gonna say is right here in this script. That's why I say it's the greatest story ever told. because people are gonna act it out without even reading it. That's a cold script. If you gonna act the script out without even reading it, that's cold. What is it? Somebody.
And the same guy that came up. I don't know if you want to be honest.
You know, like that's a cold script, y'all. And that's what the Bible is, y'all. Script. We acting it out. That's why you can't teach it. What's going on? What's going on, bro?
Did you mean to come back up? I don't think so.
You know, so you know, that's what's going on, y'all. So that's why when we be in the book telling y'all it's not about the Bible, it's about what comes from your mouth. Because get this scripture where it says, every man will be judged by what come out of his mouth. Every man. You worrying about what you read. Some people ain't never read the Bible. God gonna walk with them better than they walk with the person who read the Bible front to back. Because what? Nothing came out their mouth.
Matthew 15. Oh, no.
No, it says, no, every outer word that man speaketh, he will be judged. No, I-L-D-I-D-L-E, I think. Something like that. It'll put it up. We're going to read that verse in Matthew 12 and 36. The first one. Oh.
It says, but I say unto you that every idle word that man shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of the judgment.
So you judge by what's going to come out your mouth, not by what you read and what you thought. I read this, God, and I thought this. Lean not to thy own understanding. Lean not to thy own understanding. You know, so when you really get into y'all, this, like I say, everybody got the Bible, but everybody against the Bible, man. It's like that's when you forgive them for it. They don't know what they do. You know. So do we have any questions, y'all, about the title, man? Nobody want to talk about the title? The title hurt?
Gotta keep coming back up.
Do the title hurt? You know, we just trying to wake you up. You know? Pour some of this hot water on you. Some people try to throw the water on the fire. The water got hot.
Peace to you, brother. You keep coming up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that you're right about unity, and I'm glad that you study the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Because a whole civilization, you know what I'm saying, went into the wrong direction as far as getting into the Romans and everything like that. And Christ tried to go back and save them. And the thing is that we had our own kingdom from the beginning to the end. Romans is important because it's an important lesson in learning that we do that sometimes, go astray. And Christ came back to save them also. So once you realize what's going on and how unity connects and can build kingdoms, you'll get the hang of it. So I applaud your effort, you know what I'm saying, in teaching the kingdom of Ethiopia. Even I applaud your title as far as the other thing, as far as Muslims and Christians. I think a lot of it, I think you do need to read like you guys are reading, but you need somebody with understanding to articulate the word the way as though you can understand it. I think that's important because everybody don't know how to relay a message to everybody. It's like if you line the whole line up and tell them to send a message one down, by the time it gets to the other end of the stick, it won't be the same message sometimes. So we got to learn how to use our ears a lot and get ready for the kingdom, because the kingdom is coming. The kingdom is come.
Correct. It's definitely coming, man. It's definitely coming. I tell people all that the grace period is going to be over with. Like right now, we are in a grace period. God is giving grace. But soon that grace period gonna be over.
Yeah, as far as that, I wouldn't put a time limit on his grace because he's been gracious to us as far as everything that's been going on. For real, sometimes I think we don't even see the beauty of that he done to this world. Once we start seeing the good and the beauty that he done to this world and the good steps that he took towards us and what age we in, as far as comprehension, after the resurrection in life, he gave us all the tools to let us know that life exists again. So I think that is the most important thing that people need to really learn as far as life existing again. And just to get ready and prepare themselves for the walk towards God, because everybody is walking that direction.
Well, I was saying that with the grace period because in the scriptures, the prophet Isaiah let us know God gonna plead with us face to face with fire
Right.
and with sword.
Exactly.
So if God is playing with us face to face, then the Bible tell you to seek my face. The Bible tell you to seek the face of God, which would be an image. It would be an image on the earth.
Right.
That's how you seek God's face. And
Yeah.
because we know that face, that's more like, that's how you know the grace period is here. Because when God starts playing with us, that's the beginning of the grace period. Like God did plead with our forefathers. But the prophecy, I just want to say this. When God pleaded with our forefathers,
Go ahead, I'm listening to you.
when God pleaded with our forefathers didn't listen. So that caused the world to be in what it's in right now. No throne, no God, confusion, darkness. Now this is the time where God is back playing with this generation, which will be the beginning of the grace period according to the writings and the prophecy. Not according to our imagination, because I know a lot of times when I say grace, we want to look at the totality of God just giving grace to the whole world and then for so long. But the grace period that the Bible actually speaks of is dealing with the prophecy when God began to plead with us face to face.
Right. I can understand that. It reminds me of what you talk about, the face of God. He gives us, even in the Bible, he gives us a place. It's a place that's called the face of God in Peniel, and it's when Jacob wrestled with the angel, and that place became the face of God for a reason, because his wrestle was toward the face of God, and he was granted some good stuff. So once you really get to reading, you learn more about and
You read, huh?
and God tag along.
Your phone, your
No doubt.
your mic is breaking up, brother.
Okay, no problem. Y'all have a good one, man. I just wanted to just add to that unity that you was talking about. Once you begin to listen and begin to form those groups and everything start to fall in place, you know what I'm saying? You can build nations with that unity. Peace, love, and salute, y'all.
All right, peace, man.
Hello.
Personally, I love all humans.
All right, peace.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right, how you all doing?
We're good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. I'm just jumping in, and I saw the caption, and I overheard you all speaking about something along the lines of unity. But over the years, I have been seeing you all's face, and I have seen a video from you all discoursing over the Nation of Islam and saying that it was a false religion, a false prophecy.
Well, it's not just Islam. We believe all religion is false. So, every now and then we kind of like touch on The reason why we consider all, so we do Christians, we do Hebrews, we do Muslims, to kind of get an understanding of basis of where we're coming from when we say these things. But we believe in God. We don't believe in religion. Religion is traditions from man. For instance, the Quran tell you God is in the east of west. It's not righteous to look to the east or the west for God, because God is everywhere. So you see, but in Muslim or Islam, it's a tradition to look to the east. That's a tradition. That's not God. So a lot of religions all religions do that. They bring in their traditions to try to validate their form of worship for God is correct, to get people to support the religion. And that's why when it comes to God gonna gather people from all religions, because they're gonna be looking for God, not a tradition and not a religion.
So are you saying that you believe in the Quran and Bible, but you don't believe the human interpretation of it?
Correct.
Well, I can get down with that, but the methodology behind unifying people wouldn't be to call out groups and say that they're false, because that would mean that you are diminishing the truth that is in it. I personally, I'm not Hebrew Israelite. However, I have to agree with the part of that which is true. And if there's part of that I disagree with, then I leave that alone unless I see that it is fully detrimental to the mental state of Black people. You know what I'm saying? Or people in general. But the
Well, would you?
He
right. But would you rather the full truth or listen to the truth with lie in it?
Well, I'm in the Nation of Islam, and I believe it's the full truth, and I believe that what you have is heavily in truth, because I haven't heard, other than what I heard you say about the Nation of Islam, I haven't heard you say anything that wasn't true. I may not have the same religious disposition as you, but I'm able to settle with the truth that you speak as well. You see what I'm saying? But if you say something about someone's religious prerogative, then that will turn them off. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I believe is all true.
Well, but that's why I said God gonna gather people from all religions and bring them together, because what you said was a righteous stance. See, they got all kind of brothers and sisters that's a part of this religion that have to hear nothing but the truth. So if something is a lie, then that's what the truth gonna speak. Because that's why I say the truth has no friends, or speak of truth has no friends. You see what I'm saying? And you also have to understand the prophecy of why God is a man of war. Because God gonna tear down to rebuild. And I think we don't really know their perspective. And that's why a lot of times when it comes to somebody that's sent by God, we think they're gonna be teaching and reading the book. No, they're gonna be turning over tables. You see what I'm saying? To set up God's table. Because right now it's too many tables. You see what I'm saying? So ain't nobody gonna go to God's table because of all these other tables out here. So what God gonna be doing, flipping over tables, making war to establish God's kingdom. And that's what's being done in these last days. So but you like what you said was right. Like if you didn't have that stance, then yeah, you wouldn't be out here attacking, religions. You would just take what's good, or like I said, eat the meat, spit out the bones. Which is a righteous concept. But again, when you really dealing with God prophecy, you're doing the alien task and you're doing something that's for God.
I got you. Well, I'll offer some clarification. The in the Quran, it says that Islam I have given to you, O Muhammad, Islam as a religion. So Islam in its being, intrinsically, Islam means entire submission to the will of God. So by that definition, the unity is the basis of all religion, but it is not by itself a religion. It's just packaged as a religion to suit a particular condition at a certain time. So when we're looking at something such as the Nation of Islam, it is to say not that we are neglecting our religious focus. However, we are theologically based. However, it is, as the Son of Man says, or as Jesus says about the comforter, it leads you into all truth. So both in the spiritual and historical and scientific paradigm, we are being substantiated. So you have history, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, and I paraphrase that history is most qualified to reward our research, and it blesses man to not repeat his actions. It allows you to see into the future by studying what happened in the past. Science, you have a man such as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was a man who didn't even make it to the 4th grade, but yet is baffling scholars about phenomena that didn't even come until years later. So when the Christ was talking about, or was written to talk about, this comforter coming in the future, you may not have the same religious disposition. However, when you see a military structure that is the vanguard for black people, I would say make alliance with that. You can disagree with religion. That's completely fine. And it may not be for you to call yourself a Muslim. That's just being real. However, I just wanted to offer clarification to you because I don't want you to go up on the TikTok platform and say, oh, well, the Nation of Islam is based on a false prophet. I don't know if that's your wife or whatever. But
Well, the nation of the reason why we say that is because of the Elijah Muhammad. He proclaimed that fraud Muhammad was the son of man,
Prophesied.
the prophesied son of man.
Yes. So
you believe that?
Yes, absolutely.
So do you believe that fraud Muhammad is going to come back and fulfill prophecy?
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so that's the same thing that people in Christianity believe. They believe that a man 2,000 years ago is going to come back magically and fulfill prophecy.
Well, that's the thing.
That's not how God works.
Nothing about this is magical. You see, there's nothing in our teaching that goes against.
So how is he going to come back then?
He's not coming back from death. He's not coming back from death. You have instances where people have lived for well over this small window of time called 80 years because of
So he's still living then?
You said what?
He's still living.
Yeah. He's still living. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
That's our belief, but the thing is, if you're so caught up in the YT belief that one must live to on this small window of time called 80 years, then you're sadly mistaken. Because the God of the Bible, our people have lived for far, far longer than that. Master Fard Muhammad was born in 1877. That makes him no more than 140 years old. That's young.
But brother, you gotta look at it like this. Even in reality, even in the animal kingdom, you have a leader. The leader lives. Another leader is raised. That's why you have kids. You have to. It have to pass over. It's like in the Bible. God gave the kingdom over to David's descendants forever.
Yeah.
So he didn't give it over to one man to come back. It's not in the Bible. He gave it over to the descendants to rule. So that means once somebody leave or whether they get old, they ain't gonna ever rule again.
Right.
But God gonna use another vessel to rule.
Now that's absolutely true. But there's a particular vessel that is here to execute judgment. That is the differentiating factor between Master Fard Muhammad and the other manifestations of the God. You see what I'm saying? There's a reason why he's called Son of Man, to the exception of other manifestations of God. There is a judgment factor that is to be executed. And of course, you are right. Absolutely. There is going to be what you see, everything physical that you see here in the Nation of Islam will pass away, and there will come other generations far after us. But however, when the day the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is taken back up to his father, the day when he transitions and leaves this plane of existence, that won't make a change in the way that we work. You know what I'm saying? We're not personality worshipers, and we're not co-worshipers. The one thing that we do learn in Islam is something called Tawheed. It's called the oneness of Allah. And chapter 55, verse 27 of the Quran, I don't mean to preach, but verse 27 of the Quran, it said, everything on it passes away, but the person of thy Lord persists forever. So as you're saying, there will be a different physicality, a different manifestation of this submission to God and of this kingdom. However, this window of time that we're in right now, we're viewing that is very critical. I feel like y'all feel it too. You know, y'all probably been talking about it. This window of time is very critical. A judgment is being hastily executed, you know, and it's only going to boil over in order to bring in the full manifestation of God's kingdom, which we all wish to see.
Well, you know, and which it's definitely happening. I think the thing is just not happening the way people imagine, because the lies have have given us different imaginations. The lies.
Yeah.
So now, like I tell anyone, when you deal with our ancestors, God used prophets to talk to them.
Yeah.
God never used pen and paper. You know, back then people wasn't reading books to hear from God. Actually, our forefathers didn't listen to God. Even the Quran tell you that, you know, about the children of Israel not listening.
Yeah.
You know, so the worship of God has never been done correctly. You know, like I think these are things we have to sit down and talk about. Now, the way we worship today, a lot of us have accepted that as the correct worship. And people are no longer humble. People are no longer meek. You know, from thinking they are worshiping correctly.
Right.
So when God show up for judgment, and matter of fact, I want to read this one scripture to you, because I know you're going to be able to dissect it. Because I know, because of the imaginations, we think God going to be in a big chair. And when we see him, you know, but a lot of people, when they step in God's judgment, they're going to be nasty. You know, they're going to be disrespectful. They're going to be all these things at the day of God's judgment.
Oh, yeah.
So it's in Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 1. Because the house of God is going to be a living vessel. God has always been housed in living vessels. God
Absolutely,
has never
bro.
been housed inside of a book.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, so when you deal with God's judgment, you're going to be going to the house of God, which is what? A living vessel.
Yeah.
And what people going to do, because they don't know it's the house. And see, this is what this verse reveals. It say in Ecclesiastes 5:1, it say, keep thy foot when thou is go to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. So when you go into the house of God that you're not going to know, you're not going to consider you doing evil. Because why? You don't know that's God's house. You don't know God is housed in that vessel. Because we don't choose the vessel who God going to house in, who God going to be in. We don't choose the vessel. So again, when most people go to the house of God, it's instructed to keep thy foot in thy mouth and be more ready to hear. Because if you don't, you're going to be given what? The sacrifice of a fool, and you don't even know you're doing evil. Verse 2, it saying, be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thy heart be hasty to utter anything before God. God is in heaven and thou upon the earth. Therefore, let thy words be few. So it's showing you how God is going to be in a higher place. But God is going to be what? Walking with mankind, but in a higher place. And mankind going to come to God, which is in a higher place. And what? Be rash with their mouth.
Yeah.
So I read this verse a lot to show people how the conversation with man and God gonna go. It ain't gonna be hocus pocus. You ain't gonna be lightning lightning bolts ain't gonna be coming down from the sky. No, it's gonna be a living vessel who God is housed in, and you gonna go to that living vessel, rash with your mouth, you know. And so this how God's judgment is taking place. Like
Man,
what?
you sound like a FOI, dude. You know that?
Deep in the night. Well.
Yeah. I mean, look, and this is my belief here. You know, when you looking at, you don't know what angels you may be entertaining. You know, so when you are encountering this man or these men, you know, on the media, who the media is vilifying to the nth degree, calling them all sorts of names, anti this and anti that. and all of the cysts and phobias. You know, when we're looking at that kind of description for a man who has done nothing but sacrifice his entire existence to do good for the black family and resurrect us mentally. And it's absolutely true that what you're saying about the God being housed in a vessel and the people having an expectation of God that is so much more spectacular than it is practical. That's absolutely true. You know, and I'm looking at that as I go through my years of membership in the Nation of Islam. You know what I'm saying? So while you may not agree, I would advise you definitely do some critical study and scrutinization of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ready to
We've
convert.
been to. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we've been to the Nation of Islam. Like we've
Been to
tried.
the mosque.
Yeah, we've been to the mosque. We try to conversate with them as well. But
Oh, what are y'all able to say? What city y'all based in?
Right now we're in Atlanta. We actually been to the one. A brother invited us to the one here in Atlanta. And actually somebody from Maryland or somebody from New York had came down and spoke that day. And
Oh,
we
yeah.
actually got a chance to speak to him because he's saying how close he was to Farrakhan. And, you know, but people, like I said, man, the religion puff you up. You see what I'm saying? Like people teach this, but they don't practice what they preach. So it sounds good. What I'm saying, but they not really that way. Like when you deal with teachers, and even in Louisiana, I had a Muslim woman. You know, she the first one gave me a Quran. Matter of fact, I had one of my brothers I grew up with. He much older than me. He was a Muslim all his life. So I've been around Muslims. I've been in the mosques. You see what I'm saying? So I done try to talk with leaders. They too puffed up. They don't want to. If you don't have a status, you can't come to them and talk to them. We went to California. A brother invited us to the mosque. Man, the people had their nose up, man. Everybody had their damn nose up. Like, you know, like who are these people? And see, the brother was really introducing us because our message was to him.
Uh-huh.
So he tried to bring us to his leaders. Man, looked at us up and down like we were some spank people or some shit. You know, like, so that's why I tell people God is taking people out of the religion and bringing them to God. This is why I said that earlier. Because I know there's a lot of good people in this religion. It's the leaders of these religions. And a lot of them have good teachings. They have good sayings. They well-spoken people. But I promise you, they are not practicing what they preach. I promise you that. I know that. I put my bottom dollar on that.
Well,
Majority of them.
sounds like, you know, you're speaking from experience or experiences that you may have had with members of the Nation of Islam that you may not have felt satisfied with. And it's absolutely true that everybody who claims to be a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad through the teachings of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, it's not always the case that everybody who claims to be doing just that is doing just that. You know, and what you are talking about in regards to who you know and the ego that gets puffed up, that is a real phenomenon that happens in any military structure. You know, you have instances where people feel like they are there to get a one up on somebody else. You know, and that is why, while you may not submit to or subscribe to now a particular religion, you know, be on the lookout for that anywhere you go. You know, the Nation of Islam.
we definitely agree, but it's not only about what we've experienced through the ego of men, but it's also by the doctrine that they teach the masses. You know, you can't reveal to us who your leader is. Your leader is Fraud Muhammad. We want to hear the word from Fraud Muhammad. We don't want to hear the word from somebody else who believed Fraud Muhammad that came a couple of years ago. We have to hearken to the word. We have to hear the word. What you're reading, the Quran, is just a will. It's just a prophecy.
Well, just as you said that the body and manifestation of the speaker of truth, which is a man, just as you said that, it is going to be a different man. And then when it is a different man, you know, and it may be a man that you actually don't like. It could be that for all I know. But don't be so caught up in the physical that we disregard the personage through which the message is being delivered. You know what I'm saying? It's you can desire to hear from Master Fard Muhammad, you know, but he left in 1934. You know, we have a lot of people that wish, you know, I want to see the Honorable Elijah. Everybody wants to have something exotic. Everybody wants to feel like they are touching something special, you know, but that is the same mind that just may take you away from the practical and put a little bit too much focus on that which feeds the mind, which is looking for fascination, looking for something to entertain itself with. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I definitely get what you're saying. I don't think we saying it from that standpoint. We saying like, you know, if you gonna worship man, the man need to be present. If not, just worship God. Like Christ or no prophet came back so you could listen to another prophet. All prophets came so you could hear from God. So if the message of God leave man out, just like Rastafarians, they worship Selassie. They say Selassie coming back. Matter of fact, he ain't dead. You know, like it's just these little. That's why it says Paul said in his scriptures. I know Muslims don't really deal with the New Testament at all, but when you deal with it's Paul say one leaven mess up the whole lump. It mess up the whole loaf. So you can say so much truth, but one lie, because God. That's why you talk about the Virgin Mary, something pure, something untouched.
Right.
Something that's not tainted, no spots. The truth is like that. The truth ain't got no spots. It ain't tainted at all. It ain't got one lie in the truth.
Right.
That's why there's no lie without the truth. You know. So at the same time, you can have some truth, but if you don't have the whole truth, then it's not God.
Yeah.
That's how the devil has deceived the world by giving us some and making us feel or filling us up a little bit, but not making us whole with the whole truth. So at this time, God is just present to present the whole truth. So it's not really just looking for a man or be fascinated by a man at all. Because we're not looking for nobody to come back because God ain't never died.
Right.
So we going to hear from God. It's going to be, that's why we worship the living God.
Yeah.
The living God is always in living vessels. So we don't need to ever go back to man. Right. And the only reason why we hearken to man, because God is in that son of man.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Not because of what that son of man did. You know, it's going to be always sons of men that come and do great things because it's God. It's God using the vessel.
Yeah.
And God ain't stopped doing that. So when people teach us that somebody's coming back or no, man, no. God is here right now. God ain't never left. Can you hear? Mm-hmm. And that's the message that God wants people to understand. That's why it's worship God, not man.
Right. Yeah. So let me speak to that because, you know, I remember the sister said something about the to put clarity on what y'all were saying. You know, it's we can really look deeper into the scripture. You know, what was I saying? The scripture about the thief in the night. Master Fard Muhammad, I would love to meet Master Fard Muhammad too. I would love to see him and be able to say that I met God in person. You know, of course, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that whenever you're looking at a black man, you're looking at God. You know, but this supreme being that we call Master Fard Muhammad, you know, it would be funny if you knew actually that nobody knew that he was God until he left. Until he left, he was actually called prophet. And the day that he is prophesied to come, which I do not know, and I don't even think I want to know, it's not him returning from a kind of death. You know, he's just physically alive, but his return is more of a it's as the Bible describes, with fire and with a sword. It's not a very peaceful and lolly kind of return, if you know what I mean. So it was I would love to see him too. However, when he does make himself visible once again, then I don't even think I want to be wherever he is being seen. I probably don't want to be there. You know what I'm saying? Because these there are descriptions of fire spiritually in the Bible when it's talking about God, you know, and to show his power as well as his discreetness. But there are also some descriptions that literally mean fire on somebody's ass. You know what I mean? Like not only just with the weather, but like specific vessels through which are to execute destruction, on America and the world, and on a particular group of people who I don't want to be around once execution of that judgment is carried out,
Well, and see, we believe the Son of Man is walking the earth right now with the fire and sword. Because the prophet Isaiah say God gonna plead with us. God gonna plead with all flesh with fire and sword.
Yes.
So the sword is gonna cut you off from God. The fire is gonna purify you. That's why Christ baptized with fire, which is the anointed vessel. Christ is just the mean anointed. So the anointed vessel gonna baptize you with fire, but he also got a sword in his mouth, because that's what Christ said, I'm gonna come fight with. I'm gonna come fight with the sword that's in my mouth.
Yeah.
So that's what Christ is cutting all religions in pieces and purifying those who accept the fire information, which is the word of God. So the fire and sword is on earth. This is what we reveal to the world. This is what's being revealed to the world right now as we speak. And see, that's why again it goes back what? The thief in the night. God cometh like a thief in the night.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? But this is why we say we have to say what we say. We have to say religion is false, because our standpoint is the Son of Man is on earth. He ain't from Muhammad. Because the Son of Man gonna be setting up the throne of David. Muslims don't even know nothing about the throne of David. But it's all in the Bible. Christ is the seed of David.
Let's put some clarity on that, because you are quoting scripture, but I think that this will be a bit more satisfactory to you than you might have thought. The scripture about the thief in the night is also accompanied, when it's talking about the same person, it gives you a few descriptions. It says he comes as a thief in the night. He says he comes as in sinful flesh to condemn sin in the flesh. And it also gives a prophecy about lightning shining from the east and onto the west, Now, when we're looking at this man who is to come as a thief in the night, that's why we study Master Fard Muhammad now. When we're looking at somebody who comes, we're watching the borders. The whole looking for a black messiah thing didn't start in the 1960s now. They was watching these borders, but they didn't expect for somebody to come with such discreetness, such as the way Master Fard Muhammad did. And when they were looking for this so-called black messiah to electrify this black movement, they weren't expecting somebody that looked like sinful flesh, which was hence why Master Fard Muhammad's father was black, but was made in such a way with a white. His father had a white counterpart that
the thing about it,
to take on that sinful flesh appearance as looking like a white man. So you got a man coming up to your door talking about God and was selling you things like a retailer, and he looks white. And that way he's able to build a rapport. But then it says he comes with, it says as lightning shines from the east onto the west. And you also have a prophecy in the Quran where it talks about the sun rising in the west. It's saying to you that, yes, there are people such as you have the David, the Muhammad of that eastern area. But that east, that lightning that was there in the east will now shine on to the west. Hence why we know that Genesis 15:13 prophecy is using eastern places, Egypt and Babylon. But when it's talking about the 400 years, we know that it's that light that's from the east. It's actually pointing us to the west. You see what I'm saying?
my brother man.
Yeah, it's some heated stuff. But I mean, look, that's just a little bit of the scripture, man. I have my Bible right here. That's the kind of thing that we're observing when it comes to Master Fard Muhammad.
That's what I'm saying. But nobody ever seen Master Fard Muhammad or Daddy.
Well, I don't think
you gotta know his parents.
I don't think there are pictures of his parents. I don't think
That's
so.
what I'm saying. So we don't know if his father was black
All right.
We don't know where he come from.
Look, that's the thing. He's
That's what I'm saying. So we all. But matter of fact, Elijah Muhammad didn't even know him, and Elijah Muhammad said the only person he told he was the Son of Man was him.
Absolutely.
And I mean, like Elijah Muhammad, bro. After Marcus Garvey, a lot of CIA plans was put into play. Marcus Garvey had to, and Elijah Muhammad was a part of Marcus Garvey movement.
Well, no, Elijah Muhammad didn't. He
He
wasn't.
was a Garveyite. If you look up Elijah Muhammad, he was a Garveyite.
No, you'll see that there are similarities in their teachings, but
No, I'm saying, I'm telling you, do your research.
A lot of people who joined the Nation of Islam was from Marcus Garvey's movement.
let me put some clarity on that. So the Garveyites and those who were members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, they were instrumental in the membership moving into the Nation of Islam. However, Mustafa Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad themselves were not members of that movement. MST and Garveyite.
I'm not saying Mustafa Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad.
Elijah Muhammad he was a diehard Christian prior to his seeing and encountering Mustafa Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad was never a member of a Garvey movement or a Moorish Science Temple movement. He was a Christian. So that's just...
no. Elijah Muhammad. I mean, Marcus Garvey. We're not talking about a Moorish Science Temple
or Marcus Garvey.
You talking about Noble Drew Ali, but we talking about Marcus Garvey.
Yeah, he wasn't a member of Marcus Garvey.
This is why he got deported, and they started the Nation of Islam. Because now I know this is heavy, but and see, this is the whole reason why Malcolm X left. You see what I'm saying? Malcolm X was found in jail. You see what I'm saying? A man don't know nothing. You know, introduced to Islam in jail, a man took care of him. So everything Malcolm X did was because of what the Nation of Islam had did for him in jail. But once he got deeper into the message and started traveling the world and got a higher understanding of what the Nation of Islam was really, really doing, he had to get out of it because it wasn't for the people. You see what I'm saying? Now, this is where stuff get, again, the truth start hurting. When you deal with Fraud Muhammad, you're not dealing with nobody that, because when you deal with the throne of David, we deal with the side, and this is where we go into history. These people we got behind us, they connected to the people in the Bible. We don't know this because why? See, if we would have kept with Marcus Garvey ideology, we would have found all this stuff out. Black people would have found their true kingdom. You see what I'm saying? But the whole scope of the Nation of Islam was to bring in the light-skinned man and keep the black man in America. This was the whole play of the Nation of Islam. You see what I'm saying? That's why you deal with people like Khalid Muhammad, the man that was close to Malcolm X, the bald-headed black man. They got rid of him too because he was talking about the children of Israel and all these things. You see, they got rid of him. So the whole movement of Islam, and this hurts, I know, but this is stuff, and not to make you believe what I'm saying, but just go fact check this stuff, was to bring in the light-skinned man over the black man and keep the black man in America. That's why, again, we never found out about Ethiopia. You see what I'm saying? Like, with the Nation of Islam don't teach about Ethiopia. Why? You see what I'm saying? Why? It's like, can anybody tell me why the Nation of Islam don't teach about Ethiopia and the throne that's in Ethiopia that's connected to black people and black kings?
I got you. Now I'm gonna put clarity on all of that. As going back as what you said about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Garveyites, as well as what you said about Malcolm X and there is a hell of a lot of conjecture that is spewed in the media, but all of it bears witness to this one fact here: that they don't care what lie you believe, as long as you don't see the truth, as long as you're not to continue the truth. So, on the matter of Malcolm X was the national spokesperson for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And there was an incident wherein John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And Malcolm X was given the instruction not to speak on that. Malcolm X did not speak of himself. Malcolm X was not a preacher of his own ideology. Malcolm X was created, or he was made mentally into who he was by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad Raw, like a man birthing his offspring. But it was disobedience and his decision to speak on the JFK situation that caused him to be suspended temporarily. But in his suspension, he was relieved of his duties as minister. However, he was not disallowed from seeing the believers. He was not necessarily put on what you call F time in the Nation of Islam. But in this time period, he was violating, you see. So he was speaking to the press. When you are a member of this military movement, whose movements are very strategic and critical, so that when you are opposed by all opposition and by the U.S. government and all of these different factions, you have to be very strategic. But he began to now speak of himself. So it got to a point where when he was separated or put on a time where he could not speak for the Nation of Islam, he now began to say things that were controversial to the press. He did not find out anything necessarily controversial about the Nation of Islam that the Nation of Islam was doing. However, he worded it to the press and the media in a way that would ignite controversy. So, for example, there was a lie that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was associating or having sexual interactions with underage girls. But the Malcolm X went into the courtroom and properly addressed them as his wives, who were not underage, by the way. But when he got into the press, in the media, he referred to them with such, audacity as teenage secretary, you see? And this was an attack on his teacher. Now, we did relieve him of his post. However, of course, you didn't say this, but it is not us who got rid of him in the sense that we unalived him. We didn't do that. You know what I'm saying?
like we all, everybody, the story been told a lot, man, and we all heard, everybody's side, and that's not the part of what part I was touching on. It was the awakening to something greater, because like you said, Malcolm X was groomed by Elijah Muhammad. That's true. He was a child in jail. He didn't have no information. So when you like that and you don't have knowledge, and a man give you knowledge and plus take care of you and give you resources, you have duties and honor to that man. That's a human nature. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. You see what I'm saying? So, but I just want to say this. So, but that's what the Nation of Islam do for a lot of people, and then a lot of people loyalty is based on what the person did for them, not on the teachings and the understanding of God, because that's different. If I do for you as a man, that don't mean I have the understanding of God. I just help you out. You see what I'm saying? But we talking about the understanding of God, the truth. Prophecy. We're not talking about, the little allegations that went on, between, him and Elijah Muhammad. We talking about the truth and the understanding about God. That's what Malcolm X realized the Nation of Islam didn't have. Because that's what Malcolm X solely was bent upon, was helping our people. Now the allegation and all that, yeah, but when we talk about the truth about God, man, we know Farah Muhammad is named nearby the Son of Man. We know he have no connection to the throne of David. And that's why I say when I talk about Ethiopia and what the throne of David means, if we would have kept in the footsteps of Marcus Garvey, we would have uncovered this stuff in the 1930s, the 1940s. So when the 60s and 70s came, we would have been setting up the throne.
And most people don't even understand Marcus Garvey movement. They don't really understand what his agenda was.
Because they made everybody go to the nation. Everybody that was militant and was ready to do work went to the Nation of Islam. Mm-hmm. And they got indoctrinated with traditions. You see what I'm saying? Because the Nation of Islam been set up since what? The 1940s? About 1940s, right? 1950s?
1931.
Yeah,
July 1930.
Right after they deported Marcus Garvey. So we as Marcus Garvey had all the ears of the black people. And Marcus Garvey was taking them to Ethiopia, where the throne of David is located, that's connected to the Bible. That's why the only country that has their name on the Bible is Ethiopia. It's no other country. That's where the Bible come from.
So let me,
But
yeah.
but if the world don't really know this and comprehend this, so all the people that was a part of Marcus Garvey movement, they either went to Christianity, but majority of the people who think logical, because back then the Nation of Islam did have a lot of more tangible things than Christianity for a black person. So I'm gonna go to Islam before I go to Christianity if I really want to work. If I got a militant mind, I'm not gonna go sit in the church and clap my hands. If I got a militant mind and I'm black, I'm going to the Nation of Islam. So they took all the black people and now no black person is looking at Africa. We like forget Africa. Now we hate Africa. Now you got an African, now you got black people don't even like Africans. All this stem for what? The Nation of Islam. Now, like I say, this is the truth that's gonna hurt.
Yeah,
But the Nation of Islam brung in the light skin over the black man. I'm telling you, man, that was the whole play. Cut your beard off. Everybody up here got a beard down there. Cut your beard off. Put a bow tie on. Come on, man. That ain't manly. Putting a bow tie and a suit on and cutting your beard off, that has nothing to do with being a man.
So two things. Malcolm X, the Honorable Elijah, the relationship that these people have with each other is not a relationship that is based off of what can you do for me. It is what can the teaching do for me in an elementary sense, but then once you love God to the nth degree, once you love God to a certain degree, it no longer are you able to love God so much and then not serve his children. So then it becomes, what can I do for you? You see? And if you really love what you're about, then you decide to follow the instructions of he who raised you. So it was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad who said, he was asked, how did you know that Master Muhammad was God? He said, because I have made you up into, Master Muhammad, you've made me up into yourself. You see, so that's the kind of thing that's happening with Malcolm X. It was not a matter of, oh, you just got me out of jail or you just taking care of me and that kind of thing. That's not the matter. That doesn't just drive you to become a nationalist dude. You know what I'm saying? That's not the kind of logic that's going on over here. But to speak to what you said about the Nation of Islam keeping up this white over black thing, and then they disseminated from the Garveyites and then turned to the Nation of Islam as a means to find something and then not do work. That you'll be sadly mistaken, because this 90-year track record that we have, it is rooted in belief, absolutely. However, our actions is what we go based off of. Now, I want you to I'm just going to give some examples because, look, I'm 18, bro. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak to all of the things all of the work that was done. You know, I'm going to just tell you from what I know. In 1930, when there was a lot of membership that did move from the Garveyites and the MSTA, these people fought radically for what they believed in. And it wasn't just belief. This is what for black people. For example, taking the black populace of children away from the white education and creating their own education. The black Muslims faced persecution and mass imprisonment in order to allow for themselves to have their children and their own education and teach them about who they are and teach them about their history, teach them about who built these pyramids and who did this, that, and the third. It was their fight, you see, that allowed them to do that. And then you have the black businesses, and you are able to look at every side of the corner and see a black business and see the black dollar circulating. You see, this is not black capitalism. No. We're building the black kingdom and with baby steps and fighting vehemently for it. You see what I'm saying? So don't be mistaken.
What's the black dollar?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That started in 1930, right?
Circulating the black dollar
for 100 years. Almost 100 years that has been going on. What's the condition of black people right now? They don't understand economics. If you had God, bro, It wouldn't take 100 years to do nothing, bro. God say the spirit is quickening. You see what I'm saying? So I don't take away the certain things that Islam did, that look good on the surface. But when you get God eyes, you see through the walls. You're able to see through the brick wall. You're able to see over the wall. You see what I'm saying? So right now, that's what's God eyes is in the earth, bro. That's all I'm saying. So for 100 years, right at 80, 90 years, that stuff have been going on, and it's nothing to show for it.
It absolutely is for sure. It's
No,
just
brother, let me tell you.
A real revolution is
Bro,
to overthrow the government, not to make businesses within a government that you don't agree with.
You don't even control.
That's why Christ's mission is to start God's government, because we're not in God's government.
you said that's whose mission?
God's movement,
Christ.
Yeah,
Christ's mission.
Christ's mission. Yes,
But Christ on earth.
right. But let me speak to that. When you talk about revolution, the Quran says that man was created in haste. So
Say it again.
especially as
I didn't hear what said. You say man was created in what?
in haste. So literally and spiritually. So like
You kind of breaking up. I'm sorry. You broke up whenever you said it.
I said the Quran says that man was created in haste. So
In
this
haste.
is literal. Yeah, literal and physical. So I mean physical and spiritual, meaning that you were made, the actions that was taken up to make a man, was hasty, and it wasn't with patience. It was with what I'm saying, that kind of thing. And it was also you are created to get it done. You know what I'm saying? I want to see this happen like right now. Look, I will pick up the AK and get to work. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, though, when we're looking at something such as the revolutionizing of our people and the overthrowing of the government, that is, going to happen. But the way that comes about, the black man has to be properly trained, and he has to properly assess his faculties and assess what he has on his side. Because if he, just as you said, cannot rely on establishing businesses in the white kingdom, he also can't rely on the armaments that were created by white folks, because it's designed that the armaments are. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says it like this: if you give a fool a gun, the fool will shoot itself. So when we're looking at these black nationalist movements who try to, take part in the overthrowing of the government, it was unsuccessful every time. You don't see any of those groups existing anymore, simply because they were not accepting of what was actually on their side. They were practical in their business. We're looking at the Black Panthers, practical in business, and they look good. They're providing a good revolutionary example to the children. However, the use of firearms to offensively take over the government.
That's not what we're saying.
But you're saying take over or overthrow the government.
No, but you overthrow the government by creating your own. That's why Muslims have created a society inside of a society. This is how you know they're not led by God. God gonna establish a government that will remove the government that we are under. This is to show God intelligence. See, God intelligence is not to exist inside of another nation. God is to rise above the nation. That's why the truth is a conqueror. You talking about the conquering lion, all these things. That's why I said it about 3 times. The throne of David. And I know you didn't know. You probably haven't got around to it. If you don't know about the throne of David, you don't know about the children of Israel. You don't know about history. You don't know about God's priesthood. You don't know nothing of what God is doing if you don't know about the throne of David.
Well, I know one thing about the throne of David, and it's this: that Jesus, when I read the Bible, I'm thinking about hearing about Jesus, I'm thinking about a prophetic person in the name of Jesus. But when I hear Jesus, I hear that this Son of Man was born. He was son of David, according to the flesh, but he was the Son of God, you see, according to the Spirit. So it's not a lineage that I'm so much worried about. We can look at lineage. But lineage can be fabricated. I mean, lineage is a historical thing, and we looking at who runs the curriculum and teaches our history. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we can dig and try to look at those things.
Well, no, we ain't gotta dig. It's
We
a
can
it's a
look-
throne in Africa. It's a literal throne in Africa.
I'm sure there is, but I can see a tree by the fruit it bears. And when you have a man making somebody up into himself, like Master Fard Muhammad did to the messenger, and then the messenger to Malcolm from a man that was in prison called the Detroit Red, and then so on and so forth for to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You're seeing the shit. The Million Man March, shit, you know.
But
Just
look, hold
examples.
up, bro. This is what I say about people. God anointed son is not gonna send one man. He gonna send a bunch of angels, cause all angels gonna get the message from the one man. So this is how I know Fard Muhammad wasn't the son of man, because the son of man gonna send out his angels, not Elijah Muhammad. Like that's not what's prophesied. You see what I'm saying?
All right.
So
Look.
the son of man gonna send out multiple angels with one message to destroy the lie.
But Farrakhan got a different message.
You know, Farrakhan ain't got a bunch of angels sent out.
Farrakhan said-
And most of the people not teaching, Farrakhan say it's a little Jesus and it's a big Jesus. I ain't never heard nobody teach that.
No, it's true. Look, let me show you something.
It's a little Jesus, a big Jesus.
That's why Jesus said, "Greater work shall you do than I." You're the little Jesus. You see?
So who the big Jesus then?
No. He's the big Jesus. You're the
So
little Jesus.
Farrakhan is the big Jesus?
No. Listen. Farrakhan is he is carrying on the same message as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad made him up into himself.
That's
You
what I'm
see?
saying. Who the big Jesus and who the little Jesus?
Fard Muhammad.
The little Jesus is you and me. You
But
see?
who the big Jesus?
Big Jesus, you can refer to that as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You see?
What?
But the thing is,
Wouldn't
Yeah,
it be?
absolutely.
wouldn't it
Hold
be
up.
Fard Muhammad?
Hold on. So Jesus, the big Jesus, got taught by the Son of Man that came after the so-called historical Jesus.
historical Jesus was 2,000 years ago.
So,
I'm sure. Yeah,
man,
that-
we got a long way to go, man. We got a long way to
Well,
go.
I thought, but when we talk to some people from Nation of Islam, some of them don't even believe in the 2,000-year-old Jesus. So it's like,
No. If you're in the Nation of Islam, you have to believe in it. Jesus.
oh, so you believe in the 2,000-year Jesus?
They don't believe in like Chris. They believe he was a prophet.
He was a prophet.
Yeah, they
That
believe
Jesus.
more the prophet, the message.
Yeah, that Jesus was the historical Jesus, and he was not the Son of Man, and he was not the Messiah. His name was preserved so that when you have the God that comes, that makes himself known, he to you in the elementary sense, because you're awaiting a God Jesus, he comes with the name Jesus. He comes with that presentation. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
But-
we know, like, that's why in Revelations it mentions that the whole world is in deception, because the people who gave you history lied to you. And I'm pretty sure a lot of African Americans or Africans understand that we've been lied to through history as well. But when it comes to the Jesus, we think that's the truth. They hijacked that story so they can have their white Jesus. And now you believe that Jesus came 2,000 years ago, when the Bible is only talking about one prophecy of the last days. That's why the Quran tells you to worship the last days, because that's when you're going to get the truth, when Christ speaks. So all that 2,000 years ago, the BC, AD, those are Roman Catholic Church dates that they give into the world so they can have, power over the world.
Well, I'll give clarity. The Jesus of 2,000 years ago, as with most characters in the Bible, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, it's 75% prophecy and 25% history. So even though there was a Jesus 2,000 years ago, and the narrative is of the prophetic Jesus that is to come today, or that is here today, that person that actually existed 2,000 years ago is not the person that their narrative is about. You see what I'm saying? That person is a literal Jesus, but they're not the Messiah. We have a understanding and narrative from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad about the history of the 2,000-year-old Jesus, the historical Jesus that we do
So
not
what
accept.
did the 2,000-year-old Jesus do then?
He did come and try to and warn the Jews and teach. He did not teach in multitudes, but he taught no more than about 32 to 36 people at a time, but he was also killed. That is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. He was killed, and that person is not to come back. But his name, though, his name lives forever. His name is preserved so that when God comes, when you have Master Fard Muhammad arriving, he did use the name Jesus because that is what stimulated the black populace. You see what I'm saying? Sister Claire, as she said, he's a sign. And the Quran says it too. Jesus and his mother Mary were a sign. You see what I'm saying? Hence why all these stories in the Bible, a lot of these stories ain't even literally happened. They're happening now. They're just using the terminology of past tense to allow you to understand the teachings. But you are to see this now. You know what I'm saying?
And we agree with that. We literally agree that what you're reading is happening now.
Yeah.
That's why the Bible doesn't have any dates. So I just feel like a lot of religions still believe in the 2,000-year-old Christ just because that's what the whole world believes. But the whole world is under deception.
Yeah, and I mean, look,
But I want to say this too. This is why fraud is not the son of man, because there was an end time prophecy. And if fraud was the son of man, fraud would have set up the kingdom, because that's what the son of man came to do. Set up God's kingdom, not anoint one man to say he was the man. Like, that's not what the son of man would come do. So if fraud Muhammad is the son of man that Elijah Muhammad said he was, that would close the Bible. The Bible would stop because the prophecy would have been fulfilled and fraud Muhammad would have set up what? The kingdom of God.
Revelations don't stop there, though. See?
Yes, it does. Revelation stopped because Revelation is the coming of the Son of Man who cast the devil out of heaven, which is deception in high places. Deception still exists in high places.
And as you should know, that process is not just some hocus pocus thing like that. That
correct
is the demolition. As a matter of fact, let me use a better word. Decomposition of a system over time. It is the way that it's usually we agree in the way that it happens in the Bible to help us to understand, us little Negroes to understand in the elementary sense. It's like boom. You know how you teach a child about the in the hair? It's an elementary story, but then when you actually get to it, like you said, you have a comment of a person who you come up to a black person, you might be God, and I'm like, man, nigga, get out of here, you stupid ass. You know what I mean? I don't give a damn what you talking about. That's the mind.
That's why it's been 10 years though.
10 years
since the Son of Man showed up.
Well, I mean, look, that's your belief, and I respect it.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm just letting you know we with the process. We on the same page. Yeah. We just don't have the same traditions.
That's perfect. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, you have brothers that's in the Moorish science discipline. You have brothers that call themselves Hebrew Israelites. You have brothers that call themselves Christian. You have brothers that call themselves Muslims. But with the Nation of Islam, our doctrine, when Minister Farrakhan summoned 1 million men, man, shit, 95% of those men was Christian. How many of them men you think was Muslim? You know what I'm saying? The unity is it's the basis of religion, but it ain't based off of religion. You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta be Muslim. You ain't finna be saying, I'm gonna be saying Allahu Akbar. You gonna be saying, what you gonna say, man? Look, I don't know what you gonna be saying, but you gonna be saying something a little different. And that's completely fine. And what was I gonna say? The angels that you was talking about. Two things. There is, in the military structure, you have a group of people, but they are spearheaded by a person. There's a to maximize the efficiency and maintain that movement, you always have a spearhead. But as you said, there is a group of people, a legions of angels that accompanies that spearhead. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a man. There is a man that is speaking on the as the representative of the God. But as you said, brother, there's an allegiance of when Master Fard Muhammad came. Let me tell you this, man. You probably heard of this before. I hope you look deeper into it, but he spoke about angels, like as in, calling a little dude like me an angel sound good, but he was also speaking about a havoc making angel. If you ever heard about the wheels, that is something that's baffling the scientists and scholars of the Air Force and NASA. I myself am an aircraft mechanic, and I actually wrote an article about this. My father has done a lot of work on this as well. But this phenomenon called the UFO phenomenon that was actually introduced by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the 1930s by Master Fard Muhammad on these wheels and black angels who operate these wheels, these autonomous aircraft. This phenomenon is what we refer to as the heavenly allegiance of angels, or the exalted assembly in the Quran. As we read about in Ezekiel's prophecy, and I'm gonna leave you with this. It's gonna mess you up a little bit, okay? You remember, we believe. When did I say Master Fard Muhammad came?
What, 1930?
July 4th, 1930. Now I'm gonna mess you up, and y'all start screen recording. All right, this is gonna be a little crazy. Let me go to Ezekiel. Actually, go to Ezekiel. If you want to turn with me, that'd be great. Let me see.
And it was one word you said, exalted. That's why they was in the air, because they came from the earth.
I might have to look this up. Where is it? Ezekiel? Where are you? Ezekiel, come on. Where are you, Ezekiel? Where are you? Come on. But I can't do now. I have to go to the computer, and I don't want to do that. It doesn't look very creepy.
Right after Jeremiah, all the way in the back, Daniel. Right after Jeremiah.
I'm in Genesis. Yeah, I might have to look it up.
Oh yeah, it's towards the back, towards the end of the New Testament. I mean, towards the end of the Old Testament, Ezekiel.
Towards the end of the Old Testament. Okay.
Yeah.
And then John. That's okay. No.
Once you see Isaiah, Jeremiah, then Ezekiel.
Okay, I'm on Zechariah right here now. Got Nahum, Micah.
Yeah, Zechariah, you got to go back the other way. It's like right before Zechariah.
Okay. Here we go. All right, this gonna be crazy. So remember, I said July 4th, 1930. Now, oh my God, first chapter of Ezekiel. Remember, I told you about these so-called chariots that appear in Ezekiel. This is what we believe to be the angels that are to be manifested in the time of the coming of God. But Ezekiel has a very beautiful prophecy. It says, "Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, and in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river of Shabar, that the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God." This is a vision of the coming of God. Now, I just want to pause right here, and we're looking at the 30th year. Just keep your eyes on that for a second. When we look at the 4th month, this is not using the Gregorian calendar. Am I correct?
It's not using no calendar, correct?
It's using a different kind of calendar. In the time of the Bible.
No, actually, it's using a calendar we don't have.
Right, not today, but
yeah, God don't have a calendar.
Right, but look, check this out. The 4th month, you see. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to the 1st month. In the Gregorian calendar, the 4th month will be April. You see, but April, this springtime area, the spring equinox, and this time that will be the beginning of the year. That will be the 1st month. Now, 4th month from April. If you go from 4th month all the way from April, then you have April as the 1st, April, May, June, July. So according to this calendar, even though it's the 4th month, that would land us in July. That would land us in the part of the year that is July. And the 5th day, it is 10:45 where I'm at. So that means that as it is the 4th day over here, it is tomorrow over there in the Middle East, because we're using Middle Eastern language over here. So tomorrow, that would mean it's the further day. So while it's the 4th over here, it will be the 5th. So this lands us July 4th. And it says us in the 30th year. So God, the coming of God with his angels is accompanied in July 4th of the 30th year, which if you just add the number 19, 2,000 years after the death of Jesus, that lands us on July 4th, 1930. That's just one of the beautiful things that we've observed in this scripture, that is outlining the coming of God in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. but it's a lot more that I can show you. But that these planes, these that you see the Air Force talking about, these they call them UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena, unidentified flying objects. You know, these I mean, shit. They in 1942 they saw them. You know, and they actually had an encounter with one of the wheels and shot at it. You know, with their anti-aircraft ammunition. This is called the Battle of Los Angeles. They actually arrested the Honorable Elijah Muhammad 2 months after that event and questioned him on the wheel.
Oh yeah, but brother, you gotta look at it like this. You know, the Bible is written in parables and metaphors. Like,
Absolutely.
like you know, a tree by its fruits.
Yeah.
So you don't go out there and look at the trees because the trees represent the people.
Yeah.
So these flying objects, these are those who have went up to high school. These are those who have met Christ in the air, because Christ wouldn't be on elementary. Like you said, the Bible is on the elementary level. But when you come up and go to high school, you are in the air. Just as Isaiah prophesies about the mountain of God, it's going to be established above all the mountains. So God mountain going to sit on top of the mountains. So if you're going to go up to meet God, you're going to be what? In the air. But not literal. You see what I'm saying? So that's what that means. Like, so right now you have angels in the air. That's why right now you have a rapture. The rapture is happening. People are being called up. But it's not the way we imagine. And that's why the Bible says, cast out your imaginations. You know, come to God as a child. You know, come to God not talking so much. Come to God, be ready to hear. Because God's going to be the one giving the enlightenment, not the religion. Because God ain't going to be in religion, God going to be in the fleshly vessel. Just like we both agreed upon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you already getting the teachers from religion, then guess who you can't listen to now? You can't listen to the one who got the light. Because religion done been grooming you to say, well, the light is coming from here. The light is coming from here. When the whole prophecy tell you the light gonna come in the last days. You know, so like I say, brother, man, you know, that's just where we stand, and that's why we say the things we say. You know, all religions are false. Now I know, like you said, it might turn some people off, but the righteous it won't. The righteous gonna do what you did. Come and have a conversation. You know, but that's what we want to do, because like you said, when it's time for unity, it ain't gonna be a bunch of Muslims. It ain't gonna be a bunch of Christians. That's why I have my post. To follow Christ, you gotta be a Christian and a Muslim.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's why I say these things. Because I'm not speaking from a taking a side. I speak for the truth. I don't speak for alphabets. You see what I'm saying? I don't speak for traditions. I speak strictly for God and the truth. And that's why I speak of the truth, have no friends.
Yeah. Well, it seems like we're saying the same thing in different languages. So, you know, just let's continue to embrace the unity part. It was certainly a good conversation.
Oh yeah. Likewise, brother. Yeah. I appreciate the respect, man.
I appreciate you as well. You know, spoken to a few people. You know, conversation can be very, you know, you can go other places. You know how black but you're looking for revolution and things like that. You know, just keep doing what you're doing, and you know, may God bless you, and may God use you as a vessel for His mercy. So,
likewise, brother. Likewise, man.
I see some people in the comments want to speak to me, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, you all be good, and we're gonna keep on working.
Yeah, we'll make sure I give you a follow too, brother, man. Give you a follow, man.
Peace to you, brother.
Thank you, dear. All right, now peace out.
All right, peace, man. Stay up, bro. Yeah, shit, that's about the best respectful Muslim, you know, and that's why I kept saying, you know, God is calling people from all religions right now, man. It's not, you know, and again, the pure heart gonna see God. You know, it didn't say those who in Christianity gonna see God. It say those who become a Hebrew Israelite see God. It didn't say those who read the scriptures. You know, it's a pure at heart thing. These are the ones that's gonna see God. And you know, and that like I say, that's what the devil mad at. That's what deception is mad at. Deception is pissed off. Can we get that scripture where it says, people gonna believe him, we must stop him. It's what that scripture say. And see,
That's what I think. That's what.
it don't say exactly like that. But if we let him alone, people gonna start believing in him. And see, again, that's why the devil has his wrath. Or you know, people coming with wrath. It's like the bro came and be like, damn, y'all Jews, man, you know, you doing what you're doing it in peace, you're doing it, but why people got so, you know, why? You know, he understood why, but he was like, it's crazy. You know, like people, y'all need to set up panels for the Hebrew Israelites that's dogging you out on the corners. I'm not on the corners dogging you out. I'm up here fighting for you and telling you the truth and fighting you at the same time. I told you it's like you fighting the enemy and your brother and sister come up and sneak you in the back. They be like, ain't I'm fighting for you? What you gonna sneak me for? You know, so the wrath of the devil, like I said, the time is up, y'all. It's like the truth is here. The truth is present. And that's why I say God has no respecter of person. Yeah, everyone, yeah, that's it right there. John 11:48. You know, and they say they're gonna make war with the Lamb. You know, and who gonna make war with the Lamb? Those who are soldiers of darkness. I'm just gonna say that. Those who fight to keep darkness in the earth, these are those that's gonna make war with the Lamb. These are gonna be those people. You know, so if you go to John, what is it, 11:28?
11:48.
11:48. Let's start at 45.
It says, then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Jesus did, believed on him.
Now hold up. They ain't even catch that part. Many of the Jews which came to Mary. Mary was the virgin. So the ones that went to the virgin information, they seen the things which Jesus did. Those who came to Mary was able to see.
Had seen the things Jesus did, believe on him. But some of them went their way to the Pharisees and told them what things Jesus had done.
So some went to Mary, and some what? Went to the Pharisees, which are the teachings of the world, the sayings of the world, the information of the world.
Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council, and said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
So you see the scribes, the Pharisees, all plan to what? Stop Christ. Or let alone stop the people from seeing the miracles. By what? Assassinating his character, stabbing him in the back, taking his information. Because if we take Christ's information, he's not going to be the only one saying it.
And how is the Pharisees going to stop people from seeing Christ's miracles if most of y'all believe the miracles are something magical and only Christ can do it? How can a Pharisee stop something so magical
that nobody else can do?
How they got the power?
Christ walking on water, so everybody gonna walk on water. No, Christ saying this, so now other people start saying this, and now what? Oh, they giving me enlightenment. You steal Christ's garments by stealing his light, because Christ's light come from God. That's what Christ proclaimed. But when you give out the light, you don't say it come from God. See, you don't say that light come from God. That's why people who say you got to get it from the Bible, that's how you know they ain't getting it from God. You want to know how I know they ain't getting it from God? Because they say you got to get it from the book. If you tell me I got to get something from a book, that means you ain't got it from God. Anybody got something from God, they didn't get it from a book. I hope I didn't lose you. I hope I didn't lose you. You know, so you see how, again, people going to conspire to try to stop people from recognizing the great works of God that's in the earth. It's prophesied. It's no secret. Like, but this is the story and this is the details we don't get into. We see a council of people coming together because they have realized if they do not come together and stop this man, everybody gonna believe in him and his
They
miracles.
said, what do we do? What do we?
For this man do many miracles. That's why, see, this is why the Bible say you recognize Christ by what? The crucifixion. This is why Moses told you to look upon what? The serpent on the pole. Get bit by him. Don't get bit by them serpents that ain't get crucified, because they ain't the Son of God. The Son of God, you gonna know him by his crucifixion, because they gonna crucify him. You know, they gonna crucify him.
And then they gonna steal his garments.
Yeah, they take my information.
Yeah, take his information and not give acknowledgement to where they got it from. You know.
Oh, yeah, we got it. Let's keep reading.
Where's that?
Yeah, right here.
What's this?
Sapias. I
Sapias.
can't say it.
And one of them, named Sapias, being the high priest the same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expected for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not. And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for that nation, and not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad.
So let's stop right there. What was Jesus supposed to do? Gather who?
Gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad.
So Christ was supposed to gather the scattered captives. Now, I only read that to show you, because when I tell people that the New Testament is just a foreshadow of what's happening now. It's a foreshadow. But I know that's coming from a black man with tattoos, Mary Jane. You like, man, you lost his mind. But again, we often tell people Christ didn't come because Christ didn't gather the captives. Christ didn't do nothing that he was supposed to do that the book clarifies. Christ just wasn't supposed to come here, speak, and fly away. That's not what Christ came for. Christ came to gather the captives, set up the kingdom, bring everybody back to one truth, get rid of the devil. Oh, he didn't need to show up. If Christ ain't going to do that, he didn't need to show up. So when we say Christ didn't never come, you just reading a foreshadow and it's happening now. Phew, that go over so many people's head. So I wanted you to hear it for yourself. It tell you it was prophesied that Christ, when Christ show up, the Christ that they say came 2,000 years ago is going to set up God's kingdom, gather the captives, and establish the throne of David. The 2,000-year-old Christ didn't do now one of them. He didn't do now one of them. You know.
Then from that day forth, they took counsel together to put him to death.
Ooh. From what? From that day forth?
they took counsel together for to put him to death.
Because once they realized this is the man that's finna gather all the people and bring them to one truth, then they no longer exist. The Hebrews don't exist. The Catholics don't exist. The Jehovah's Witnesses don't exist. The Muslims don't exist. Because this one man is finna bring everybody to the one truth. So once again, the devil realized the light is in the earth. Now remember what the devil is, deception. Once deception realized the light is in the earth, what they did?
Then from that day they took counsel together for to put him to death. Jesus therefore walked no more openly among the Jews, but went thence unto a country near to the wilderness, into a city called Ephraim, and there continued with his disciples.
So again, it's a group of leaders. And what? Those who see like Pharaoh. You got the scribes, those who teach from the book, those who teach from what's written. That's a scribe. You got a Pharisee. You got Pharaoh musicians. Pharisees are those who see like Pharaoh. And Pharaoh seemed to keep the children of Israel in captivity, in subjection.
In imagination.
You know, keep the children of Israel in captivity. That's the writings on the wall. You know, that's what a Pharisee is. So these people gonna come together and what? Throw all kind of dirt on the Son of God name to bury him in the world. Because of all the miracles that he doing. That's why they don't come talk to him. They'll send you to talk to me, but they ain't gonna send, they ain't coming. Man, let me sit down and talk to the brother, man. You know, let me talk to the brother and see where he really coming from. Why are these grown men not doing it? They on the corner laughing like devils. It's crazy how, you know, the movies say how the devil laugh. The deceivers laugh just like the devil. I promise you, it's mind blowing. It's like, oh, it's almost scary. If once you understand who the deceivers, watch they laugh. And what you call them? They got a verse in the Bible where it says, "Some is known by his many laughs. A fool is known by his many laughs." It's a verse something about too much laughter is deception or something like that. Like, you know, this shit ain't really nothing to laugh about. You know, like I say, I laugh and joke to turn the knob down. You know, I might throw a little joke in there, you know, just to try. You know how you walk in the room, you say some serious shit, then everybody's so quiet, and then it was so serious, you gotta crack a little joke to kind of like level it off. That's what I do it for. You know,
it says like the cracking of thorns. No.
No. Yeah, is it?
For the cracking of thorns onto a pot, so is the laughter of a fool. This also is vanity.
All right,
that's not it?
I can't. It's a way to go.
A fool lifted up his voice with laughter.
I think that might be it.
Yeah, a fool lifted up his voice with laughter, but a wise man doeth scarce smile a little.
A wise man smile a little. Mm-hmm. So if you just pay attention to a deceiver laugh a lot. Man, when I talk to Captain Cesariak, you watch Nathaniel. I'm talking about when I talk about these leaders of these heavy organizations. You know, when you talk about a lot of these leaders, man, they literally laugh all the time. Ha 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 ha. Like, man, what's so funny? And this shit ain't that funny, man. Because they lie. Because it says in much wisdom is much grief. Mm-hmm. You know, so they not crying out to you. They just on here talking in the seat. But I'm telling you, when you watch all these movies of how the devil laughs, look at the deceivers. You know, look at the deceivers, man. Is you know, it's crazy how it match up. That's all I'm gonna say. It's crazy how it match up. You know, but
And it's crazy how, no disrespect to the young man that just came up, but even like Nation of Islam believing 2,000-year-old Christ, how can all these division religions, including Hebrew Israelites, still believe that Christ came 2,000 years ago, but then think that they're saying something different? They're saying the same thing.
Babylon.
See, nobody else want to come up.
Nah, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. Y'all. Title, I think it speaks for itself. Do you read God? Or do you listen to God? A lot of people probably haven't asked themselves that. And a lot of people, I know when you say listen to God, yeah, you're going to go to your thoughts. The Bible say, don't lean to your own understanding. And I'm not saying, we're talking about understanding of God. We have to separate our personal life and understanding of God. That's two different things. You don't have to understand God to be a righteous woman and a righteous man. Let me make that clear. But if you want to be a speaker, if you want to be a representative, you must understand God. Because this is what we don't separate. That's why I say God's thoughts are not your thoughts. God's ways are not your ways. We all have man and woman ways, which is what's considered a beast. We all have a beast mentality. We are human beings. But if you want to get the God mentality, you want to be a representative, you want to be a speaker, you have to understand God. That's totally different. And that's what the world has been missing. Everybody representing God in the wrong way. That's what everybody been. And what say what? We all have been tempted to do the same thing. To go out and represent God the wrong way and lead people astray as if you really represent God. So again, that's called robbing God. Using God material, but robbing, that's why I say you stealing from God. You stole God material to false represent, to misrepresent. You can't go out there and put on a police uniform if you're not a police. You go to jail for that. You can't go sit in a courtroom if you ain't a judge and talking about you judging somebody and send them to jail. You go to jail for that. See what I'm saying? That's a heavy sentence at that. It's the same aspect with God. Many people have put on a uniform and tried to represent God in the wrong way. You're going to get sentenced for that. What does Scripture say? Teachers, you're held for what? A stricter judgment. Do not be teachers, because you will be held to a stricter judgment. That's what's happening, y'all. So I know I ain't got too much, man. We ain't got no guests. Anybody want to come up in these last few seconds that we about to check out? We about to check out. It's checkout time, y'all. It's checkout time. But if you haven't checked out the website, y'all, we nation building. We're not a religion. We tearing down religion to bring all the people of God to one place. It's one truth, it's one God, it's one way. The speaker of truth have no friends. It's one God, it's one truth, it's one way. It's one. And when we get there, that's when the world's a better place. That's when heaven is on earth. And that's what the truth is going to establish. One God, one truth, one way. That's what the truth is going to establish. It ain't multiple truths. It ain't multiple ways. It's different people. It's multiple people. But it's one truth. If all these multiple people understand one truth, heaven on earth. Streets are golden. Those are some golden streets, is all I'm going to say.
And if y'all hear that message, feel free to check out the website. We have a declaration. We have a petition. Understand what the mission, what the revolution is about at yajujudah.com.
So on that note, family, we out of here. Peace and blessings as always. We hope the Father has circumcised y'all hearts and ears for the message. Peace.